everybody, and welcome to KINS 101. Now, KINS 101 is the beginning of your KINS domain. KINS 102 will go into more elaborate stuff and more detail. For instance, right now we're here with Steve, and I'll introduce him in a second, and we're going to talk about the trees and the plants that he's brought us here to grow in this area. And then later we'll talk about biodynamic farming, companion planting, permaculture, sonic bloom, structured water, paramagnetic rock, and different high technologies for growing and natural technologies for growing, such as permaculture, companion planting. But right now I want to introduce you to Steve Spangler, who owns a company called Exotica. And Steve, tell us about your personal background, how you came to make Exotica, what Exotica is, and then go into the kind of trees that you brought us here, all edible, organically grown fruit trees from Vista, California. So take it away,
great.
Steve.
Yeah, I'm Steve. We started as Exotica Seed Company in the early 70s, and I lived in Hawaii, and out of that experience I decided no one's doing mail order fruit tree seeds. So I went ahead and I put together an illustrated catalog. Second year later, Thomson Morgan, the biggest seed company in England, ordered hundreds of pounds of seed, so that got me into the seed business. Meanwhile, I lived in above Sunset Strip in Hollywood. I took the seeds, planted them, and I had a little backyard nursery, and that's blossomed into a nursery now. We've been 30 years in the business. We have over 1,000 types of fruit trees.
Now, Steve, let me ask you a question. One of the parts of a KINS domain is that you plant a family tree. All right, we talked about your pond and you're ringing your land with a living fence and an organic garden and natural beehives. But the family tree is very significant, and that family tree stays in your family estate or your KINS domain for generations. And I thought, what kind of family tree would I want, for here? And I decided I wanted a mulberry bush, because when I was growing up with David Tobias and my who's the president of our company, Hemp Inc., which is a publicly traded company with a stock symbol HEMP. That's a commercial, in case you didn't realize that.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And Exotica, what's your website for the commercial?
ExoticaRareFruitsNursery.com.
ExoticaRareFruitsNursery.com. That's another commercial, in case you didn't realize that. That's called refreshing honesty, folks. We tell exactly what we're doing. Anyways, what I've discovered in my thinking is I wanted a mulberry bush, because growing up with David Tobias, the president of our company, and Craig Perlowin, my brother, and all my brothers, I have 3 of them, we used to go to this mulberry bush in a field we used to call the Ponderosa, and for literally hours we would climb in this mulberry bush and eat mulberries. All right, so when I'm
an original Cartwright boy, right? Big
yeah, I mean, yeah, we got mulberries, and the ones when they're not quite ripe, they're tart, and you mix them with one that's purple, and so it's real sweet. Right, so you have the, you take them together, and if you get tired of the sweet ones, you're going to eat the tart ones for a while. So when he told me he has Russian mulberries, all right, where did the KINS domain concept come from? Came from Anastasia and Russia, with Vladimir Merge's books, The Ringing Cedars of Russia. So this is our family tree on all 4 KINS domains. We now bought the 5 acres, 1 5-acre south of us, so we'll be doing 4 5 acres instead of 4 KINS domains instead of just 2. And so we'll plant the mulberry bush as our family tree. And tell us a little bit about the Russian mulberry. How big does it grow, and how many we brought here today?
Well, the Russian mulberry was Morus tartactifolia. I guess it came from Crimea on the Caucasus Mountain. And it's been used as a windbreak tree, like, for example, when Theodore Roosevelt started the Civilian Conservation Corps, they planted a lot of trees in the Midwest, and this was one of the windbreak trees, because it takes heat and drought, and it makes an edible fruit. It's good for the animals and the birds. And you could also probably put the silkworm on it too. But they're quite variable. The fruits can be anywhere from purple to pink.
Wait, let's back up a second. We can put the silkworm on the mulberry bush?
Mm-hmm.
All right, because just...
Yeah, it's a host plant. Eventually if you get that, it's a big, beautiful moth. But I don't know where you get the worm. Probably have to work through, like, someone who's doing butterfly, like Butterfly World.
Well, just not to give out any inside information from our public company, just remember he mentioned silkworms, and keep your eyes open for a future press release about an application.
Silk.
We've already patented it, but we haven't announced it yet.
Okay.
Maybe this qualifies for an announcement that we do have something coming along those lines. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead and finish with the mulberry.
Well, it's an ideal tree for the desert for sure. I mean, you'll find them all through the upper desert like Lucerne Valley, and these will grow on the coast, so the plant's adaptable to cold or wet.
How big do they get?
They'll grow up to 40, 50 feet, so it's a big shade tree. And they'll get trunks 3 or 4 feet. And I saw some along the road here. There's some other, probably a fruitless mulberry, but it's a derivative of this.
Now, let me ask you another question. With the amount of trees you brought here, this is right around 100. All right, there's 26 of the Russian mulberries.
Yeah.
So we'll put it together the way it was when I was growing up and climbing in them. There's about 4 of them. You know, so we'll do 4 sections, so our kids will be able to climb in them and do what we did. You know, or maybe if we live to be a little bit longer, 20 years from now, we'll be climbing them again, but we'll definitely be eating them. Tell us some about how much food will this 100 trees produce on a Kin's domain like this?
Well, like pomegranate, for example, they're about 3 years old. They're going to need another 2 years before they fruit. But give it about 7 years, you can probably get 10, 20, 30 pounds of fruit per tree. And as they get older, they go up to 50 pounds or 100 pounds. Pomegranates are fabulous because they're very drought tolerant. They have a bitter root, so gophers don't get in. I don't know how the animals will chew on them. Probably squirrels might like them. But it goes back thousands of years. Mulberries have been grown in Persia and Iran, and the Syrians grew them, and the Egyptians grew them. So it's an old world fruit. And we also brought some date palms in here too, which have been with mankind for thousands of years. It might be an experiment. They'll take some frost. This one here is the jelly palm that we mentioned earlier. And my friend has it growing in Willits. But what's interesting is in Brazil, they take the berry and crush it and make wine out of it. And the fruit's orange, and it tastes just like a pina colada. Tangerine, pineapple flavor to it. Very productive. And my friend was growing these out in Borrego Springs, which is super hot and cold, just like our climate here. So I think it's a palm that'll thrive well, because it'll take snow. So I bought one of those along with some 5 gallons to experiment.
And Steve, what is this fruit over here?
That's an old, it's an apple.
Wait, walk behind.
Yeah, this one's not ripe yet. It's one of the heirloom apples, but the bright green one. It's called Hudson's Golden Gem. And it's like a parent to the Golden Delicious, but it's real bronzy when it gets ripe. These are still green. But imagine a golden brass color. It's a crispy apple. It's tart, sweet combination. Apples love the high desert, so I think when you develop the orchards, definitely get more varieties. It's a place called like Apple Valley, and that's the same as Antelope Valley. They grow peaches. So the deciduous plants are definitely adaptable to the high desert, along with other plants I'd recommend to be pistachios, almonds.
And what are these tall ones over here?
These are the mulberries. These are all Russian mulberries. It's a variation since they're from seed. You get some with more of a maple leaf, and other ones have more of the common rounder leaf. But as these get in the ground, the leaves are going to get larger because these have been in the pots a long time and they really need to be in the earth.
How far apart should we plant these?
Probably 15 feet or so.
15 feet apart?
Yeah. I mean, they'll turn into a real thick wall, or you could alternate it with pomegranates in between for a lower part because these will get bigger.
Now, we bought some trees. Now, in your Kin's domains, you always have problems. And we have a very unique problem here. And the problem is they have free-range cattle that go in this place, and you can't shoot them. It's against the law. And the cattle have discovered our little oasis here. And let's walk over to the little park that we built in the backyard and show you the problem we have with the cattle, because we took the fence down, now we put the fence back up, and so let Steve advise us if our trees that we bought are going to survive or not.
Do you think the cows are...
This is the dawn.